The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
I'm going to talk about the problems with credit cards these days.
Settle in.
We've all been through it.
I mean, we love them. The convenience
Yes.
of them incredible. But then,
Yes, then things can go awry. And it happened to one of my mates who has been living up in Karratha for a few years. I haven't seen him that often.
Yes.
And I was in BCF before I was heading down south, and one of those places.
how outdoorsy of
love
you.
BCF.
When
They've got the best range of Yeti. If
Yeah, they do. They got good ones.
Yeah,
that is
that's
true.
great.
When I go, for some reason, when I head down south, I've got to have all the equipment. So surfboards and that, which we've got plenty of, and all the rest of it. But for some reason, I always think I need a fishing rod. We do bugger all fishing,
What do you
and I'm
do
not a
with the
fisherman to
ones-
save my ass.
What did you do with last year's fishing rod then?
Oh,
That
they all
goes,
get
the ocean
ruined.
takes it, Natalie.
Someone snaps one. It happens every
But
time.
when you buy a new rod, how much are you spending on per rod?
Like $35.
Oh, $35
okay.
rod.
That's why
Come
they
on,
snap
Shaun.
all the time.
Mate, that's when
Hey,
they use it at the Royal
sales.
Show. Mate.
And I'm catching the same foam fish.
It's got a magnet on the end.
Absolutely. Anyway, I was waiting for this guy in front of me to pay, and he was taking forever. And then I noticed it was a friend of mine that he'd come down from
Right.
down south, and he was in line and he was having difficulty paying. And we started having a conversation. What's going on, Dano? What's happening here? And he had to ring the bank a day before, 2 days before, and query a purchase on his credit card.
right.
Someone
So
had
it wasn't
hacked
him.
into
Yeah,
it. It
okay.
wasn't him. And then they said they're going to have to stop things down, but they'll only do it for 24 hours and he should be okay if they can find out exactly where's this coming from. So he was standing in line and he ended up getting to a couple of different cards before he can able to use one. But the biggest
I
problem
only
he
have
had...
one.
Oh, I've got two.
How many do you
I
have?
only have one. Dangerous.
have
I
one.
like.
One's as
can't
a
have more
backup.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And when I got my first credit card, I had no credit on it. I just made sure it was like just the debit card
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I couldn't be trusted.
But yeah.
That's really good
So I have
idea.
2 credit cards and then a debit Visa,
Yeah, keep going.
So he was looking to, anyway, he's making his purchase, and then I was saying, what's going on here? And he said that he had booked to go down to another guy, Glassy's birthday party, which is born around Christmas, just after Christmas. And he had booked at Yelling Up to stay at, is it what's that one?
Seychelles?
Seychelles, right there, yeah. And because it was with bookings.com, they take your credit card and then they take the money out only about 48 hours before.
Yeah, in case you want to cancel.
Yeah.
And they couldn't.
And they couldn't take the money out, so he had nowhere to stay.
So they'd cancelled his reservation. It's a
so-
lovely spot there, by the way. I've stayed there before. It's really nice.
So he went to buy a swag to...
He was buying a swag,
Where'd he
Nathan, to
stay?
stay at our friend Blinder's house. Because Blinder's got more of a farm. He had nowhere to go. And he doesn't have a partner, right? And everyone else was going to this. I got
Blinders place
wives
is full
and
of
kids and
random
all this
single
stuff.
men and men that aren't with their wives.
It's like some sort of men's
Credit card
refuge
details.
situation.
It's the only place he could find to stay, so he had to get a swag. They were on sale too. Good job.
Anything happening with your credit card, the idea of that makes me sick in my stomach.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when you've gone to pay parking or whatever, you know when sometimes it doesn't go through?
Yes.
Straight away when that happens, I think, my mind goes to, someone has hacked my bank account and siphoned all my money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because I've read those stories about
Yeah.
the bank can't help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you're transferring money, I check that bloody thing
Yeah, the
1,000
numbers so
times,
hard.
like, because I'm not good with numbers.
I had a moment of terror a few years ago because I was flying from Singapore to Vietnam and with, I think, Silk Air, which is a Singapore Airlines subsidiary. And they, when I went to check in, they said, we need to see the credit card that you booked this on. And I said, no, I don't have that anymore. It got hacked and they issued me a new card, completely different number. And they're like, no, we need to see the card that you booked this with. I'm like, I don't have it.
Do you know the hacker?
You must have a policy because, if people's cards are stolen or whatever, their wallet's
100%.
stolen, they don't have the card. And they said, you'll have to talk to the people. So they let me check in, go through immigration. And then when I got to the gate and they checked it, they're like, no, we need to see the card. I'm like, I don't have the card. So now what? And we then just stared at one another, blinking for a little bit,
Just a mad face.
in
Who's
the
going to
movies,
give here?
in the cartoons, everybody's just staring and blinking. And then I said, I can maybe tell you the number of that card. And she said, can you? And then I don't know how I managed this from the recesses of my mind. Because from 6 months earlier, I'd booked it some time ago. I then just rattled off that credit card number and she's reading it and she goes, yep, okay, no worries.
Even the CVN on the back.
I remember the CCV.
Yes.
I remember that number.
Yeah.
I
me
remember
too.
my date.
Yeah.
I remember the last 4 numbers, but whatever comes before
Yeah.
that,
No
not
chance.
to save my life now.
These days, your computer remembers all of that
Yep.
stuff for you, but back
You
then
know,
you had to
your
enter
your
it.
credit card number now, don't you? Though,
Do you-
say it out. No, CVV or whatever it is.
The CVV.
Yeah, it's 937. No, but you know it off.
I probably could for one of
could
them, not
you?
for the other one.
Not really.
You know what?
No, there's a lot of 5s.
You know
in
what?
mine.
You know what? Guaranteed your kids can.
Oh, yeah.
Look, we want to know if you've been caught out. Have you had a credit card nightmare? Emily's in Forestdale. Hi, Em.
Hi.
Hey, yeah.
Okay, talk to us about the pain of credit cards. What happened?
I was in hospital after having a 13-hour surgery, so wasn't doing too well, and woke up to a notification from Apple Pay saying that my card had been suspended. So phoned the bank, speaking to them, there'd been about 3 transactions totaling to about $800 that was made overnight.
Yeah.
That were all at like Culture Kings and that sort of thing.
Culture. So some big gold thick chains and some like Echo pants.
They wouldn't speak to me about putting it on hold because it was in my husband's name. So when he got in, he phoned them. They turned around and tried to convince us that maybe I had made the transactions overnight, not knowing.
No, you would have shopped at Culture Queens.
And that's it. We'd explained the situation that we're in, that it wasn't possible, wouldn't be able to spend the money given the situation we were in. And he was adamant in trying to convince me that because I was on pain meds, I had no recollection of making these purchases. So my husband ended up having to phone the individual companies and get them to cancel the orders and refund us the money because the bank wasn't able or wasn't willing to help us with that one service consultant.
That's outrageous.
They were like, you know, it was you on pain meds.
You know what, Emily? When I had this problem happen to me once before, I dealt with the bank and they were easy. They were really
mine
easy
too.
going.
Yeah.
And to have that happen to you when the people you trust the most with your money are the ones questioning you is disgusting.
This is why it just terrifies me. To me, I'm going back to the transferring of money. That terrifies me because that's the power in your hands. And then they say, have you checked it? Have you checked it?
Yes.
And they ask you 100 times. Because once you press send, there's no guarantee you're getting that money back.
And they don't have to do anything to help you to get it back.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a lot
isn't
of
it?
pressure.
I know. Andrew's in Baldivis. Morning, Andrea.
Good morning. Firstly, I miss you guys so much.
Oh, Andrea, I was going to say we missed you, but we've been watching you during an entire break. So,
It would have helped you sleep. It was very boring.
Okay, so what happened to you?
So a couple of weeks ago, noticed transactions coming through from America.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not me. And so they sit with pending, on your account. So I phoned the bank. They said, look, can't do anything while it's pending. I'm like, what? Surely you can cancel it. No. So they were very good. So they once they realised, okay, it looks dodgy, suspended my card, sent me a digital one within 5 seconds. So I had a digital card.
I tell you what happens now.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's good.
Yay. All right, get going.
Once that it went through, I then have to hit, that I'm reporting it as fraud.
Yes.
Within a week, I got my money back. It was just $150.
Yep.
So I'm heightened to being scammed. So a couple of days ago, I just received bad news. A colleague had passed away. So I was very upset. I wasn't emotionally in the right headspace.
Yeah.
Got a phone call from somebody claiming to be from Binance, which is a crypto.
Okay.
That's where I store crypto.
Oh, you do crypto?
My name, knew my email, knew my phone number, knew.
Yeah.
And then the usual thing like the bank. Could you confirm your date of birth and your address?
Yes.
Did all that. The bank had asked me that a week ago.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a red flag.
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to hack your account from Lagos. And I'm like, well, that's not me, clearly.
Yeah.
So she sent me then, lovely lady, very helpful, sent me an email from Binance with this details of this person. Is that you? No, definitely not. Okay. We need to lock your account, but you need to transfer your crypto to a wallet.
Andrea.
Yeah.
So transferred, she talked me through it because I think how she got me, I've been Googling, I'm planning a trip to Ireland for my niece's 30th.
Yeah.
So I kind of find out, how the hell do I get this money out? I've got crypto, I don't know how to get it out.
You'd be like so many people.
I'd go in with my hard drive to my computer and go, I'd like to buy something, please.
I don't know how to use it. So clicked on, something. So that must go to whoever sits in these little offices waiting for idiots like me who don't know how to use crypto. So that must be how they knew I had Binance. So anyway, she's got me to set up the wallet and sent me this. I'm going to send you a link. This is a task-free to use. What is that? No. I'm still thinking she's so helpful.
And these guys that have let themselves into my house and are taking my TV, they're lovely too.
They were so helpful. I couldn't carry it. So anyway, I've transferred the crypto I had, which is about $1,800 out of the
Okay. I mean, what were you going to do with it? You didn't know how to get it out of the computer.
She said, do you have any other crypto? And I said, I have some with Coinbase.
She's so nice. Of course you're going to tell her all of your things.
For dinner on Thursday.
Yeah, she's a lovely girl.
$5,000 in my crypto. Yeah, so just under $7,000 transferred. I saw it all go in, and 3 seconds later, I saw my account was zero.
Oh,
Andrea,
what was that feeling?
Sick. Like, I'm still even talking about it. Like, it was only a couple of days ago, so it's still very fresh.
I'm sure. I find it funny, but...
Yes.
So the app thing, I tried to ring the WhatsApp number, and obviously no answer.
No,
of
I
course.
did send her in all capitals the C word.
That would have made you...
Cactus, she said.
That would have made you feel better. Yeah.
I just said, I will find you. I am Liam Neeson. I have
The particular set of skills.
So you've just had to say goodbye to that crypto. Hey, it's gone.
But now I have to look at silver lining.
Yeah, what's that?
What's that?
It was $1,000 investment that was paying back $7,000, which was going to cover my flight to Ireland. So when I have to look, so on the phone on the way home, I phoned my mum. So I'm in floods of tears. Bless my mum. She's in Ireland.
Oh.
And she said, I wish you were here. And I said, no. I said, don't. I'm upset, Mum, but I'm phoning just because I want my mummy.
My mummy. If you need your mum and she's not here, you can have mine for a bit. She's not doing anything. You can go get her now. I'll send her over.
Andrea, that is a heartbreaking
silver lining
cautionary tale.
Sean, just let her say there's a silver lining. She doesn't know what it is or whereabouts it is, but there's a silver lining.
What about this for a silver lining?
Andrea, we've got a double pass to go and see Lasso. It's on February the 12th. Don't miss out. Check it out, everyone.
Andrew, you're going to need your BSB account details and also your tax file number as well, please, if you can just send all that information through as well. And also let us know where you keep the spare key for your house.
1 off 10, if you could send us that too.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Bron Lewis is in the house, everybody. She's here for Fringe World. She's got some shows at Oasis Comedy Club. You've already started. You've done 2 nights?
2 nights, yes, I have.
And go through to Sunday?
Yep.
It's called Who's Talking?
Who's Talking?
Which is, so it's about being a teacher, isn't it? Because we know, you told us last year that you used to be a teacher.
We
so
couldn't
you must be
believe
feeling
it.
great.
Can you believe anything, Sean?
You can't.
I can't
Actually,
believe
no,
more
fake
people like
news.
her.
I know.
Fake news. Christ.
No, I believe that you were a teacher, and seeing the stuff
you.
that you've been putting out there lately, knowing that classes are going back, some in WA now, but more so next week.
So, because this time of year for teachers, it's awful, isn't it? Because we know what it's like going back to work for after holidays because we had to do it this week, but it's nothing like what teachers go through.
Especially at the start of the year, because you've got to get to know all these kids.
Yes, and they're all awful.
A lot of them are really awful. And I think the worst part about teaching is some of the teachers you work with, because people become teachers for a range of reasons. And I've got the theory that some people become teachers because they either had a really hard time at school and they're going back for revenge, or they peaked at school and then when they finished, they were like, oh, God,
high school was amazing.
I only feel popular if there's a siren.
Exactly, and they're always PE teachers, and so they always they'll be there, and they're there for I would say the wrong reasons, and they're trying to make friends with the kids, or they're trying to victimise the kids, and then they are just the worst people to be around.
Yes,
all the time.
You just brought up PE teachers. We as students see them as the coolest.
Yeah, for sure.
What does teachers see? What do teachers see teachers as? Is there a hierarchy in coolness of teachers and what they do? Are sports people the coolest?
So you were a drama teacher, huh?
No, I was a English teacher.
Yeah.
But PE teachers, no one respects them. And then
they're like in the corner playing with a ball.
Well, exactly.
1324, Jen, if you're a PE teacher and you agree, give us a call.
Yeah, we'll discuss it for sure.
Because like in the staff room, but I was doing I was working out what people want to hear about this, about teachers, because it's not just teachers who are coming along. So there's a lot of teachers in there, but I wanted to know what people who aren't teachers wanted to know about. And a lot of people I want to know what goes on in that staff room. I'm like, oh, that's easy. It's just heaps of teachers looking for biscuits, and there's one lady in there always, probably called Doris, and she's there all the time eating a curried egg sandwich, and she's like talking about a bloody Tupperware that's still there, no one's bloody picked it up, and you're like, oh, Doris, do you work here? I've never seen you not in the staff room. And there's always one PE teacher wearing shorts in the middle of winter, stretching his groin on the floor.
Sounds familiar.
And then he's just talking about how good Year 9 camp was, and you're like, there's so many red flags, mate.
I would love to be the outdoor ed teacher, though. That seems like the... Yeah,
He's got it about
I'll be wearing shorts all the time too. But being a secondary school teacher, that's probably the worst, because when you got the kids and you get them in line when they're in primary school, and everyone lets in a line and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and they're cute. They're cute when they're little. Yeah,
and they say weird stuff, but that's always funny. But when you've got the kids, adolescents, they're having a dip at you left, right, and centre.
Yes, because they're like, oh, okay, because they've called you bluff. So in primary school, they're like, oh yeah, power exists, and then when they get to high school, they're like, I could just say no. Like, as a teacher, one of the best things to say, and this is one thing I really miss about being a teacher, is just saying get out. And you can't, there's no other profession, I think, that you can actually say that. Like, I can't, in comedy, you can say, like, hey, mate, if you're a really bad heckler, they could be horrible to you. But if I said get out, everyone would be like, oh, that's a bit harsh. But in teaching,
you can say it.
So there'll be just a turd in the class that's like just flicking their pen enough, and you go, get out, and everyone's like, whoa. Power.
What would you rather? Right? Yep. A kid that gives you attitude and, like a bit of lip all the time, right? So every day, having a bit back and forth, or a complete suckhole student?
Oh, I would absolutely prefer the first. The ones that, because, and an English teacher, because I was a high school English teacher, mostly taught just year 11, year 12, there'd be kids who, you'd teach them, they'd go through a book and they'd have an emotional awakening, and they'd be like, wow, and then they'd look at me. You see this happen, they look at me and they go, wow, you've taught me so much. I feel like we're best friends. We're not Alice. We're not Alice. Get out of my class.
Nathan put the call out for a PE teacher. We found one. Mrs. Rogers, hello.
Hi, how you going?
Hi, Mrs. Rogers.
Mrs. Rogers, who did you teach?
Nathan.
Did you know he just said PE teachers are the coolest in the world?
Nathan's PE teacher.
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know whether you remember, Nathan, but I remember you come into the gym and there'd be 200 kids in there, but guess who we all heard? Nathan.
This sounds familiar. We know where you're coming from.
So wait there, what year, Miss Rogers? What year was that?
So I hope it's okay saying this.
Yeah.
I think you were year 11 or 12, and then you had the year off when your
brother passed away. Yes, yeah.
And then you came back.
Yeah, so that was good. I was in my sports era there, Sean. I won the Phys Ed Award.
Did you?
So you did it. It was a year 12 subject.
Yeah. I won a Phys Ed Award and the Art Award, and those two awards have never been won by the same person.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Not a lot of crossover generally.
How's life been, Mrs. Rogers?
Well, I'm definitely not teaching anymore.
So Bron was suggesting that the PE teachers aren't the coolest. Would you?
No, English teachers always say that.
Yeah, fair to fight against the English teacher.
Because they're in their books and their pale skin inside.
Yeah, they're all flouncing around in their cardigans.
Using big words.
I can hear the clogs coming down the hallway.
Our English teacher. Rogers. I'm back in the day. Do you remember, Mrs. Rogers? Do you remember the Topsy tail? So it was a thing you order on TV, and it was just a bit of plastic, and it was a loop. Literally looks like a noose upside down.
The girl's
hair. Looping your ponytail
and then you would loop your ponytail through it.
Okay.
And there was a teacher, and she's absolutely lovely, and I've seen her around here. Her name was Miss Canute, and she got the Topsy tail, and she got the instructional video, and she watched it from beginning to end, because the Topsy tail creations that came on her head, it's like a wedding cake. She did 20 Topsy tails on top of each other.
And was she an English teacher?
Yeah, she was an English teacher. Yeah.
They've got a lot of spare time.
You can tell. It's not your practical pony of the PE teachers, is it?
Because the best thing about being an English teacher is you just make it up the whole time. I guess in PE you might need to know the rules at soccer. I don't really know, Mrs. Rogers, but I need a whistle or something. But with English teachers, you could just pretend you've read the book.
Yeah.
And you just have to walk into the class. You go, righto, who's read the text? And then one kid will be like, I have a question. Why'd the protagonist have to die? And you go, great question. What do you think?
Why don't we talk about that class?
Thanks, Mrs. Rogers.
Thanks, Mrs. Rogers.
Oh, my God, what a blast from the past.
Yeah, you're
Thanks,
a joy.
honey.
That's gorgeous. Our special guest this morning is comedian Bron Lewis, who's here doing shows through till Sunday at Oasis Comedy Club. Get your tickets at fringeworld.com.au, of course.
Bron, you seem to be enjoying your time in Perth. We were seeing some videos on your Instagram, but one that really took me is someone sent you in a song about Perth.
Yeah. It was a woman who lives here. She said, because I do love coming to Perth, and I think she was like, oh, you're going to love this song. And is it called...
Are we going to play it? We got the video, Sam?
How great is Perth?
Is it the best place on earth?
Sounds like it's from an 80s movie.
No, it's not.
It is from the 80s.
Right, it's from the 80s. Okay, wait there.
Nothing beats living here on the West Coast. How good
There she is. Nice.
Wendy Matthews, that is. Wendy Matthews or something. I've never, ever heard this. Who's it by?
I think it was an ad for possibly Channel 10.
Right, because I love how they're like so unsure, like they haven't actually committed. How good is it? Like they've not, like there's no statements in there.
We still don't know how good it is.
It's good, isn't it? It's,
Yeah.
Speaking of rating things, one thing I love about you that you don't see a lot of comedians do is after every show, you rate your audience. So you properly review your audience and give it a rating out of 10 and tell them where they went wrong.
Yes, because it's a two-way street. It's not like a lot of jobs. It's like, okay, well, I will serve you, or I will be this, or I will whatever, and then it's like
Service
it's all
with
really
a smile.
up to
You've
you.
done nothing wrong, and it's,
Exactly. Yeah. But with comedy, if they come in, like if they've had a bad day or if they've like struggled with parking or it's, I don't know, 4 million degrees, if they've come in with like a bad attitude and they're like, oh, I just wish I was at home. All right. And it doesn't matter what you do on stage, they're giving you peanuts.
Well, because they're the ones that act like they're by gunpoint. It's like, It's like, you know what? It's just smile.
Just like relax, uncross your arms.
Yes, energy, body language.
Yeah, women are allowed to do this too, mate. And then,
well, I didn't say that.
He
He doesn't have a right to be upset.
So your first audience in Perth got 9 out of 10, which is
brilliant.
Which is great.
I didn't do the one last night because I had to go do a couple of gigs after. But I reckon last night would have been an 8 out of 10 because no one sat in the front row.
Oh.
Everyone there was second
They're
row.
scared.
They're scared. But I was like, I'm not going to hurt you.
So, what's some of the other things that people have done over your time?
Okay, so the reason why I started is because in Adelaide last year, I had a couple in the front row, they're maybe in their 60s, and I would tell a joke and there'd be, the laughter, deafening. And then...
so much so.
So much. I was like, guys, let me tell the next one.
I heard it from here. Just shut my window.
And then the couple would laugh, and then as soon as the laughter would die down, the husband would then explain the joke.
But I like that. That's good for the guy. Because there's other people and they're just clapping, not getting it. And then that's great for him. Everyone who doesn't know, this is what's going down.
He's my subtitles.
Yes.
So he and she would kind of be just like nodding. She was so used to it. It was like 40 years with this idiot.
Mansplaining.
And I eventually had to say, I'm so sorry, mate. Please, she gets it. She knows what's going on. He wasn't translating it to another language. He was just saying what she did there was just saying, talking about her kids. And and it would go forever. And I'd just hear this dumb voice next
I'm sorry,
to me
but what a great show to go to, right? So, you're up there, Bron, doing your thing. Everyone's laughing, and then everyone in the audience waits for this guy to explain what it is. And then we start again.
Yes, torture. It was torture. And he'd seen me in a different show, and then I'd say a joke, and he'd been to, and he'd go, oh, this is different to the last joke.
Remember last time when she said this?
Yeah, it's people how people get less than 10 out of 10 is if they come late or if they another one that scored very badly was, and this is, I blame my white trash family for this. It was in Sydney and my white trash cousins came and there was a bar in this theatre. So they are very distracted by this. So they would stand up and kind of shuffle through 4 times in 1 hour. They went to the bar.
And it was all your family.
My white trash family wouldn't have gone and sat down. They would have been at the bar.
And then right near the end, just as I had just before the final punchline, my cousin Tara Bradley, I don't care, she stands up, she shuffled through, and she's like high heels on floorboards, and and I was like, what is she doing? And so I had to suspend time to wait and wait, and the pause was going forever. And then she went to the bathroom, and we listened to her vomit.
Was that loud? Oh, because it was quiet.
Because I'm trying to have.
And then the old man was like, "So what's happening here, sweetheart? She's throwing up because she's overindulged because she's white trash."
That's right. Yeah, and she's related to her. You can tell she's about to vomit as well. Yeah. So it was. So I think the audience has a really important role to play. And they come in the front row. They're like, "Fine, I'll sit in the front row," and they cross their arms.
No one's walked in and eating like a back of barbecue chips or something, have they? Like loud eaters or anything?
No. There's no. I haven't had any loud eaters yet. But I can see why people, because I am watching the audience now, I can see why people aren't really wanting to sit in the front row, because I'm like, I can't carry this by myself, guys. It's 1 hour, and if you've brought a bad attitude or barbecue chips or mansplaining, it's gonna impact the show.
You know what? You should take it to the next level, and if someone really does something that violates your code, and have a chair there, you literally pull them and put them in the chair.
Yeah, like a red and yellow card system.
That's the hot chair, and then
I'd had an excellent audience member the other night. So usually my audiences are teachers, parents, gay men, and
I love the comedy
and white trash families.
And scum. And but the other night I had this man on the first night, Greg. He was sitting in the front row by himself, and he was maybe by himself, and maybe he was at 60, and he was sitting on the edge of his seat, and he was so
lapping up every word.
He was so adorable, and I'd asked him. I said, "What are you a teacher?" Because I thought, what the hell is he doing? He's not fit into any of these boxes. So what? Were you a teacher? And he said, no. And I said, what's your job? And he said,
stalking you for the last 3 years.
I'm your husband. Holy shit, Greg. And I said, what's your job? And he said, I find homes for lost numbers. Thank you.
What?
And when
what
he
do you
said
mean?
Lost numbers?
Lots you're thinking children.
Or dogs.
It's
That's
beautiful.
right. And but I thought this might be a Perth thing. And so because everyone,
numbers.
and I looked so confused, but I looked at the audience and they were all looking confused, but he was so sure of what he said. And I didn't want to make fun of him because it sounded beautiful.
Legit.
And I was like, okay. I was like, does he work at Sesame Street? What is this?
So he walks around and there's a number 4.
Or is he a forensic accountant? What is he? Is that what he is? Oh, yeah. And he's trying to be funny.
That's
Greg,
why accountants should be
Greg,
funny.
cut it out.
I know, but he was so sweet that I was, and it was so, everyone was like, oh, we love you, Greg. And that's fine. But you do get a heckler. There's hecklers who are, I don't think I've ever seen a heckler win.
No,
I've never.
They don't have a microphone.
And also,
the rest of
the
the
person
crowd
that's on
is against
stage,
them.
the person's on stage is pretty witty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
gonna-
why they're on stage. You're not. You paid to see them. You're not going to win.
Yes, and another tip is for audience members, if a comedian says to you, "What do you do for a living?" and you either don't want to say it or it's complicated, just make it up. Just say, "I'm a
baker."
I'm a,
Yeah,
exactly.
Plumber, easy.
Yeah, and then then they'll have a little joke about that. Then they'll carry on. It's the people.
Boilermaker. Say Boilermaker. No one has any follow-up questions. We don't know what it is. We think you make boilers.
Yeah, that sounds yuck. It sounds like there's pus involved. We're not interested. But when people go, it's difficult. I'm in tech, and I'm on a lot of Zoom calls, and you're like, mate, I don't actually care. I don't actually care about you. Where's Greg? That's what I say.
Yeah, show back out.
Greg is talking in code.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.